On June 8th, 2026, Waldameer announced Eagle's Pursuit, their new Vekoma family launch coaster for 2027. I've been tracking the construction and been waiting for the announcement for this coaster for so long, and now it's finally here. This coaster looks really cool, and I think it's going to surprise people when it actually opens. I'm going to go over my thoughts and some confusions that I've seen online about this coaster. Now let's get started on an analysis. One thing that I want to mention before we start the layout is that I love that this coaster is themed to bald eagles. If you didn't know, bald eagles are actually native to Erie, PA, so this just isn't a random name choice, this was thought out. Now let's get started on the layout of Eagle's Pursuit. Okay, so as you can see, it's a rather short layout, but it's pretty unique, and it's actually going to be really fun to ride, so let's go over it. I think everyone suspected that this coaster was just going to have a down and back layout, but I also think it surprised a lot of people, including me, with how it utilizes the terrain and includes all of the elements it does. Now let's go over some key parts in the layout that I think are worth mentioning. First, I want to mention this big dip down to the right. At least in the animation, it just looks like the most fun part of the ride. I don't know, it seems like you just gain a lot of speed, and I have heard that this is the fastest part of the layout, so it just looks pretty cool. Next, I want to mention just how close this coaster gets to the mobile home park down by the beach over here. I mean, it gets really close. It looks like some of the footers are even on that property. I know the animation isn't going to be completely accurate, but it still seems pretty close. I'm starting to get a little bit worried about noise complaints. One more element that I specifically want to talk about is the upward launch that takes you back up to the brake run. I've been informed that there's a possibility that the tunnel with the fog won't actually be there for the 2027 season. There's a chance it'll be added on later in the next upcoming years. But that upward launch alone is very unique, so I'm excited that we're getting that. Another thing I want to mention is just how spectacular night rides are going to be on this ride. I understand if they have to put in lights just for maintenance at night for any reason, but I think it would be awesome if there were no lights at all. Especially when some of those trees grow in, it'll just be a really fun experience in the dark. Not to brag, but I can't help but mention how similar some of my predictions for this coaster are to the real thing. Especially Lake Fire and Lake Erie Speedster. I mean, just look at some of these elements and how similar they are. I never expected these predictions to be that accurate. As you can imagine, some people are disappointed with the announcement. I mean, this happens with every coaster release. I'll be honest, I was actually a bit disappointed when I first saw it too, but the more I thought about it, this is going to be an amazing experience, and I'll explain why. I think all of us were hoping for a thrill coaster, even though we knew it was probably going to be a family coaster. I think this is the main reason why a lot of people were disappointed. But just because it's a family coaster does not mean it's going to be a bad coaster at all. I just think some had their expectations too high. Similar to Ravine Flyer 2, without a doubt, this coaster will still feel very fast. 48 miles per hour does not sound like too much, but with all the elements it has, and especially with it hugging the ground and weaving through the trees, it will feel fast, trust me. Another complaint I've seen is the dislike of one-train operations, which I can definitely agree with. But this is a shorter layout, so I don't think lines will be that atrocious, but that is a bummer, I'll admit. Here's another confusion I haven't seen too many people talking about, which is what's up with the support color. As you can see, the supports for this ride are on site, and they're black, not silver like the animation. I know simulations for rides aren't always 100% accurate, but I mean, how does this happen? It makes me wonder if the track color will be different at all, or at least a different shade. But I hope not, because this shade of blue I think would actually look really cool with the black supports that are on site right now. I was originally going to briefly talk about the logo, about it possibly being AI, but it was confirmed this actually is hand-drawn, so that's awesome. This same art style is used in a lot of AI-generated content, so I understand why people are confused. Thank God we don't have a werewolf gorge situation on our hands. In conclusion, this is a really good addition for 2027. I've gotten more and more excited while editing this video. I truly think this coaster will meet the expectations of every guest. Sorry for not going too much into the stats of this coaster. This was more of an analysis and thoughts video. I think that's all I have to say about Eagle's Pursuit right now. I know this coaster hasn't opened yet, but you're gonna have to believe me when I say this coaster will not disappoint. Theorizing and predicting for 2027 is officially over, but I will not stop for the next upcoming years. Let me know what Waldameer videos you want to see more of on my channel. See you guys next time.